Ouagadougou, a sweltering morning in mid-April. The city seems calm on the surface, but in narrow alleyways and dimly lit rooms, dark plans are taking shape. Intelligence reports pour into the presidential office. Another coup plot, this time allegedly backed by foreign forces. It's not the first, and it certainly won't be the last. Since taking power, this man has survived dozens of assassination and coup attempts, 19 officially, though some sources whisper the number could be far higher. Each time he escapes death, he grows into a stronger symbol for his supporters and a sharper thorn in the side of his enemies. But what makes this young president such a relentless target? Who is orchestrating these bloody plots? And why has the most recent attempt sent shockwaves through the entire Sahel region? Today, we'll retrace every link in this chain of conspiracies, following the trail from failed assassinations to the 2025 coup plot, and uncover the story hidden behind the walls of power, where the survival of a nation can hinge on decisions made in mere seconds. From the moment he assumed power in 2022, his presidency has been a storm. Officially, there have been 19 documented assassination and coup attempts, each one leaving behind a trail of chaos, speculation, and unanswered questions. Unofficial sources, however, hint at an even higher number, whispering of plots that never made headlines but were quietly dismantled before they could take shape. The threats came in many forms. Some were direct and violent, gunfire erupting near a motorcade, explosives planted along a route, mysterious gunmen breaching outer security perimeters. Others were far more subtle, poisoned food intercepted in the presidential kitchen, or intelligence of accidents planned to look like mechanical failures. Each attempt pushed his security apparatus to the edge, forcing them to adapt quickly and anticipate the next strike. Not all threats were born within Burkina Faso's borders. Several plots bore the fingerprints of foreign actors, regional rivals seeking to destabilize his government, mercenary groups linked to shadowy sponsors, and factions with a vested interest in keeping the Sahel region weak and divided. The president's survival was often a matter of split seconds, changes in schedule at the last minute, a watchful guard noticing something out of place, or a tip-off from a loyal informant. Each escape only strengthened his image as a leader defying the odds, while deepening the paranoia and tension within his inner circle. These repeated attacks have shaped the way he governs. Cabinet meetings are conducted with heightened security measures, travel plans are guarded like state secrets, public appearances are calculated risks. For his supporters, these precautions are proof of resilience. For his enemies, they are signs of a man under siege. And yet, despite the danger, he has refused to retreat from the public eye. This defiance has become part of his political identity, a leader who walks among his people, even when every step could be a calculated gamble. April 16th, 2025. The day began like any other. Morning security briefings, a cabinet meeting scheduled for mid-morning, and a planned inspection of a new infrastructure site in the capital. But behind the scenes, a storm was forming. Intelligence units intercepted encrypted communications linking a faction inside Burkina Faso's military with operatives across the border in Côte d'Ivoire. The chatter suggested a coordinated strike, fast, decisive, and aimed directly at removing the president from power. The plan was audacious. The conspirators intended to strike multiple targets simultaneously: the presidential palace, key broadcast stations, and military bases in Ouagadougou. The goal was not just to remove the head of state, but to plunge the nation into chaos before loyalist forces could react. Among the intercepted files were detailed maps of the capital, photographs of security checkpoints, and even insider schedules suggesting someone close to the president was feeding information to the plotters. What made this plot especially dangerous was its backing. Intelligence analysts traced funding and logistical support to networks operating from within Côte d'Ivoire, a neighboring country with historically tense relations with Burkina Faso. Official statements from the Ivorian government denied any involvement, but the evidence, bank transfers, satellite imagery of cross-border movements, and testimonies from captured operatives painted a different picture. The coup was scheduled to unfold within hours. Acting on the intelligence, loyalist units moved swiftly. Roadblocks were erected, military communications were encrypted, and trusted soldiers were deployed to secure every possible entry point to the capital. By late afternoon, several suspected conspirators had been arrested, and their weapons caches seized. It was the closest Burkina Faso had come to losing its leader since he took office. The president's inner circle later admitted that if the plot had gone ahead, they might not have been able to protect him in time. For the public, news of the foiled coup was both shocking and galvanizing. Thousands poured into the streets to show support, waving flags and chanting slogans that condemned foreign interference. This event marked a turning point. It wasn't just another failed attempt. It was a warning that the forces aligned against him were willing to escalate, and that the geopolitical fault lines in the Sahel were far from stable. To understand why the assassination and coup plots against this young president keep coming, we have to look beyond Burkina Faso's borders, deep into the heart of the Sahel. This is a land rich in resources yet plagued by instability, stretching across multiple African nations where international powers, regional rivals, and local insurgents constantly compete for influence. The Sahel is not only a security hotspot, but also a strategic trade corridor linking West Africa with North Africa and the Middle East. From gold and uranium to vital water sources and fertile farmland, every resource is a prize in a larger struggle. Whoever controls this region holds enormous leverage, and Burkina Faso, sitting at the center, is a critical piece on the chessboard. Against this backdrop, Burkina Faso's shift under new leadership, moving away from the influence of traditional powers, particularly the West, and leaning toward partnerships with countries like Russia, while forming the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, has disrupted the balance. These moves are not just political, they are direct challenges to forces that have maintained control here for decades. As new alliances take shape, former allies can quickly become adversaries. Stakeholders who lose control over resources or political influence will do whatever it takes to reclaim their position. And one of the fastest ways is to change the leadership. In this geopolitical game, a successful coup doesn't just change the fate of a nation. It can reshape the entire region. With this in mind, what's happening in Burkina Faso is inseparable from the larger power map of the Sahel. And that is why, for some forces, the survival of this young president is simply unacceptable. After every foiled plot, the first thing the head of state demands is a detailed report from his intelligence units. In this dangerous world, information is not just power. It's the only shield that can stop a bullet or a blade from the dark. Under his leadership, Burkina Faso's intelligence apparatus has undergone a complete transformation. Spy networks have expanded, not only operating domestically but also infiltrating neighboring countries where many of these plots are conceived. Upgraded signal interception and analysis systems, combined with new surveillance technologies, have made it possible to detect threats long before they become reality. But the greatest challenge comes from within. Recent plots have revealed that the enemy has managed to plant insiders, people with access to schedules, travel routes, and even strategic decisions. This has forced the security apparatus to conduct exhaustive background checks on every individual, including those in the president's closest protective detail. Trust has become a rare commodity. These silent battles rarely make the news. No one sees the long, tense hours inside control rooms where every call and message is decoded. No one knows about the interrogations that stretch late into the night until the traitor is unmasked. Yet it is precisely these operations that have prevented countless attacks capable of changing the nation's fate overnight. In the shadows there is no glory, only patience, vigilance, and the belief that every piece of intelligence gathered today might save thousands of lives tomorrow. For this young president, it is a war that never ends. News of the repeated assassination and coup plots against the young president did not just shake Burkina Faso, it spread rapidly to major capitals across the globe. In Washington, Paris, Moscow, and Beijing, national security advisors quickly convened closed-door meetings to assess the fallout and recalibrate strategies. For Western powers, particularly France, this was a troubling development. Burkina Faso's move to reduce dependency, and at times directly confront their traditional influence, had already strained relations. Every failed plot served as a reminder that their foothold in the Sahel was weakening. Meanwhile, allegations of Western involvement in some of these plans further fueled public mistrust across Africa. On the other side, Russia and several non-Western nations saw an opportunity to strengthen their ties. Diplomatic visits, military aid packages, and economic cooperation deals were accelerated, not only to show political solidarity, but also to expand strategic influence. Burkina Faso's role in forming the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, created a new power bloc, forcing global powers to rethink their positions and interests in Africa. Regional organizations such as the African Union and ECOWAS found themselves in a bind. On one hand, they were compelled to condemn coup attempts to uphold democratic principles. On the other, pressure from member states with their own agendas made it difficult to maintain a united stance. All these reactions turned Burkina Faso into the epicenter of a global geopolitical game, where every move could send ripples across the continent and far beyond. Over the years, this young president has faced trials few leaders in the world ever encounter, from bullets fired in the dead of night, to plots conceived in faraway capitals, to traitors within his own ranks. Every move against him had one goal: to bring him down. Yet each time he survived, he didn't just endure. He stood taller, more resolute than before. For him, power has never been a reward. It is a responsibility. A responsibility to protect the nation from those who would exploit it, and to lead Burkina Faso toward a future where its people decide their own destiny, free from any outside imposition. In a public address after the most recent failed coup attempt, he declared, "I am not here to protect my seat. I am here to protect your trust, the trust that we can stand on our own 2 feet." Those words rang out through the chants and drumbeats of thousands, echoing as a shared vow for the nation. The message to the people of Burkina Faso, and to the world, is clear. There will be more challenges ahead, but a united, vigilant, and determined nation cannot be easily broken. In a region where violence and instability have long been the norm, this story stands as proof that steadfastness can create miracles.